All right, guys. It's been a while, but we're back on the truck. Today we're doing the front end. We got the one fender on and nothing else, but we are going to get rid of this whole front cross member, remove the rad back a bit, relocate the battery. We're going to cut the frame down here. We're going to get rid of these mounts and either reuse the mounts or make new ones. Same with this side. And the problem is there's not much space. I got about, 5 inches there to move back. I can do that, but I might want to get the rad inside the rad support. I don't know. Follow along and show me yours. Okay, we got the front frame section cut off. I cut it back a little further than most because I'm going to build little pieces going down from there to hold up the front rad support and then an extension for the bumper. Here is the rad support, and I had a rad mounted before, and I'm going to follow my old idea. It's just a good idea because we put the rad on the inside, we used these factory mounts, and look what I did. Take the existing hole, you make two little divots on either side, so this little piece will fit in. Screw it on, holds the rad on nice. But with the old one, I had a rad and no AC. This one's getting AC. So now I have to make this AC condenser fit. So I gotta cut out spots for these two pipes here. I gotta cut out spots for the AC pipes and these two pipes here. I think this is power steering and this is transmission cooler. So a bit more cutting, watch some time lapse, it'll be good. Okay, that was a lot of work. Probably more than it should have been. I've cut out spots for the rad to fit, but I probably should have gone further down just a straight line. The only thing is, this brace is part of the body mount. So I want to keep this brace as structurally sound as possible, and looks like I managed to do so. We've got these things bolted in from the front. We've made space for all this stuff. We've clearance in there. We had the clearance down here, over here, and in there. So now it's all fitting. Now we're gonna flip it over and we're gonna see if the condenser is gonna work. Okay, here's the front. This is looking great. So we've made some space on here. Everything's fitting through. Made some space over here. It all works. Now here's what I wanted to save, is these pieces are what hold the condenser in. So there's a clip there, and up here, there's studs that stick out of the radiator. So I'm gonna probably weld on some studs here, or maybe put them through from the back side, but I think it should work. Pretty happy, honestly. Should be nice. So we retain the power steering cooler, we retain the tranny cooler, obviously the rad, and now condenser. Time lapse, here we go. Okay, we've got the rad support mounted, but not mounted properly. Just want to give you guys a little eyeball here. If you look down in here, there is the frame rail that I cut, and there is the rad support mount location. So I gotta build a little something from here down, some kind of bracket. Gotta make sure it's centered. This side is, let's go over a bit like that. Make sure it's all centered. Then we'll create some kind of bracket for it. All right, so I had this lying around. Just a bracket. Not sure what it's from, honestly. I think it's from, yeah, it's from running boards. So took this bracket and I was able to grind it down, create a little hole, put the mount in the bracket. Now what's gonna happen is this bracket is going to go welded onto the frame, like so. And then this will line up with the hole, right there. Might need to do a bit more trimming, but yeah, just make 2 of those, weld them up, all set. All right, we got one side welded in. Got to put it up on the hoist and do the other side, but that's good. Hole is lined up perfectly. Now, the other side. Okay, little update. We got the frame horns welded on. We got the rad support supported, and we were working on the battery tray and the inner fenders. So what I've done, is I'm keeping the Crown Vic, or in this case the Marauder, inner fenders, both sides, but I have to mount them. I was debating using the metal inner fenders from the Crown Vic to support these things, but it was just too much. There was too much cutting, too much messing around. So I'm just gonna support these inner fenders with brackets on the F100. So here's what I've done on this side. See those 2 little tabs there? I welded those on, and they are going into the inner fender, and they support it real nice. It's tight. This side, however, there's a battery and a fuse box. Because we've cut off, here's the frame, we've cut off a good 12 inches of the frame. So because of that, the battery box gets pushed back, and it doesn't fit the way it would on a Crown Vic. So this is where your skills come in. If you have, where you have to really try stuff, cut, make it fit, make it work. So what I've done is this, I've taken the battery box, there was 2 tabs that stuck out here. And they stuck out about an inch or two, and that's where it used to be mounted. So I cut those off flush, so now it's flat enough that it can mount against the rad support. Drilled 2 holes, put 2 bolts through, but it's not enough because it's still flimsy. So I have to support from the backside. Coincidentally, what ended up working out is this AC dryer sits on the frame, and I use that little hole there through the battery box, and it keeps it really tight. So that's all good. The only issue, and I know most of you guys are thinking, you're trying to isolate the frame from the body using those mounts, and it does a good job, it isolates it. This now creates a point where the frame is touching the body structure. So I'm just hoping that it doesn't make any noise. If it does, that'll be my first place to isolate, but I think it should be good because it's a lot of plastic. So that being said, battery boxes or battery tray is gonna sit there, but then the inner fender won't mount properly because it's hitting the battery tray. So what I've done, I've had to cut an opening right there in the inner fender to fit the battery tray. So it's a bunch of messing around. It's a bunch of try it, cut it, try it, cut it. But we're getting there, and the battery tray is gonna be nice and solid. Nothing's gonna protrude except for these little screws into the front. And then I can put my rad on, put my condenser on. And as you guys know, it's a busy shop. This is a weekend. It is 10:35 on a Sunday. I've got to be out of here by noon. So I've got an hour and a half to get this finished. To get this drivable, I got to get the rad back in, everything hooked up so I can drive it outside for the week and then work on it again. So that's where it's at, guys. Keep following the build. This is getting good. This will be drivable very shortly, and I can't wait. Over and out. All right, here we go. This is coming together really good. So the rad was really tight going in there, but now that she's in, I've still got space, just barely. I could probably squeak out the serpentine belt if I had to, and between the rad fan and the crankshaft pulley, I've got about an inch and a bit, so plenty of space, especially on these builds. The problem I'm having is that this receiver dryer is not working. It won't fit between the battery, how close the battery is to the fan shroud. I might need to relocate this thing. I've been doing AC for years. I know how this thing works, but I don't know if I get rid of this thing, will the AC still work? As far as I'm concerned, it's just a filter. But I don't think so. Anyways, I might need to relocate it back here to in between the battery and everything else. Custom lines, great, whatever. Do what you gotta do. But it came together well. The battery tray is in there good. Had to clearance the inner fender a bit more, but that worked. I got my bracket in there for the inner fender, bolted up. The inner fender's sitting nice. I gotta bolt the back up a little better, but once it's done, that's how it's gonna look. Pretty exciting. So, it is 12 or 11:25. I got 35 minutes to get this thing back together. I can do it. Gotta shorten a bunch of hoses. Gotta shorten the power steering hose. Gotta shorten the rad hose here, the lower rad hose, these transmission lines. Yeah, it's a mess, but that's what you gotta do. So next I'm gonna put on the AC condenser, run it through there, hook everything up, get it running, and then Monday morning, she's going outside. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Okay, so this is the last part of the video, I swear, but we're done. Everything's in. I didn't need to cut the power steering lines. There's still an inch inside there somewhere. I cut the upper rad hose. Obviously didn't need to cut this piece here, but I cut that little mini hose down there, about 2 inches. Lower rad hose is on, but I didn't cut it. I gotta trim what's on the hoist. But I moved the battery tray over. I moved it over about, I don't know, 3 inches. So it's sitting better. I had to clearance the inner fender a bit more, but the battery's in there good. There might be space for this dryer. I don't know. My goal today was to get it drivable. So she's tight, but it's 10 minutes to 12. All right.